Well, hey, this is Dan One-Row on another missionary adventure, and here we are today in Independence, Missouri. We just arrived here. We've been traveling around the United States, preaching the gospel, meeting with friends and supporters. We're on our way down to Springfield, Missouri for some meetings in that area of the country. And in Independence, which is just now a suburb on the east side of Kansas City, is the former home of Harry S. Truman. Now, a few years back, we took you to his boyhood farmhouse, which is in Grandview, Missouri, about 15 miles away from here. And it's in Grandview where the Forerunner Church, the Kansas City House of Prayer, Mike Bickle, all of that ministry is connected and is actually situated on land that used to be the boyhood farm of Harry Truman. But this is where Harry Truman, he and his wife lived here. They bought this place in 1919. Later on, he became a U.S. Senator. Then he was chosen in 1944 by Franklin Delano Roosevelt to be his vice presidential running mate when Franklin Roosevelt, for an unprecedented fourth term for president. Well, we all know that it was just within a year after he won that election for his fourth term that Harry S. Truman, who was his vice presidential running mate, became president. That was just weeks before the end of the war with Europe and Japan. And so here he was thrust, this small town, a man from a small town, America here, and he became a U.S. Senator, and then suddenly he's thrust into being a vice president, and then within months, the president of the U.S. It was a few years later, in 1945, that God used him as U.S. president to be the first president of the first nation to officially recognize Israel as a nation, modern-day state of Israel in 1948. So even in Israel at that time, he was considered a modern-day Cyrus. Cyrus protected the Jewish people 2,800 years ago. God raised up in 1948 an American president to be a modern-day Cyrus to bless and protect Israel. And that's why a lot of people see President Trump as being also a modern-day Cyrus for probably being the most pro-life president, or the most pro-Israel president. Well, he absolutely was and is the most pro-life president we've ever had. But he was the most pro-Israel president, certainly since Harry S. Truman, 1948. So, this was also the home where he retired in. But while he was president from 1945 to 1953, this was called the Summer White House because Washington, D.C. is notoriously famous for being extremely hot and humid in the summertime. And because air conditioning wasn't invented yet, he would spend most of his summer months. Well, that car needs some work. He spent his summer months here because it was not as humid as in Washington, D.C. And then he lived out the remaining part of his years here, where it was quite common he received guests and visitors throughout the day here as well. So we want to remind you that it's worth it serving Jesus. That you have a man like Harry S. Truman that God raised up to accomplish great things for the kingdom of God. And God can do similar things with you as well when you surrender your life completely to Him and say, God, I'll go wherever you want me to go, and I'll say whatever you want me to say. And that's what He's doing with people in these last days. He's raising them up to accomplish great things for the kingdom of God. So we remind you to subscribe to the little picture down below of Kathy and I. Hit that picture and you'll be able to subscribe and click the notification bell. And again, until next time, Dan and Kathy One-Row, reminding you it's worth it serving Jesus. God bless you. Bye-bye.